In this video, I'm going to tell you how instance recovery happens within an Oracle database. So we have an instance with a buffer cache, log buffer, highlighted specifically, DB writer, log writer, data files, and read log files. Now let's say a user performs a DML. Let's say there is a EMP table which has got a block with an employee called X whose salary is 100, and the DML requested by the user wants to update this value from 100 to 500. In order to make that happen, obviously the block has to be read by the server process. It will be brought into the buffer cache with X at 100. First thing the server process is going to do is to keep the value of 100 and the new value entered into the log buffer. Then a copy of this is kept in the undo segment, stating the old value of this employee was 100 and this value gets updated to 500. This is how the DML gets processed, and the user is told that statement processed. Further, if any other user is going to query for details of X's row, the instance is going to reconstruct the block with the old value and provide 100 as the salary of X. So that's how read consistency is provided, so that when a user is performing a DML, another user, when he queries for the same data, he still gets to see the old value. The user can now issue a commit, and when he issues a commit, what is going to happen? A system change number is generated and the entire contents are written into the read log file, and the lock that would have been created on this is removed, and the undo is now overwritable, and the user is told commit complete. At this moment, if any other user queries for the value of X, he will get to see 500, not the old value 100, because the transaction is committed. But please note, the value of the data file is not yet changed. That will happen only whenever the DB writer writes. So it is not necessary for the DB writer to write whenever a commit is issued. Well, let's say at this point in time, my instance crashes. We have an unsynced database. When we start up the instance again, it will realize that the database was not shut down properly, wherein there was no checkpoint that happened in the database when it was shut down. So when it is going to read, obviously this is a block that has been changed. There would be a necessity to recover. How does it recover? It is going to read till where there would have been some point in the read log file when the last checkpoint occurred. Every other entry in my read log file beyond that checkpoint location would have to be applied back. So there are two things: roll back and roll forward. What is roll forward? Those transactions which have been committed but not yet written to data files is the application of commits into the data file. Roll back is where I made changes in my memory and my DB writer also wrote it down, but that transaction is not committed. So such transactions will have to be. These are the two things that happen. In fact, roll forward is mandatory to be committed before the instance opens up. Rollback can happen in the background also. So when instance recovery happens, the changes that are not yet written to the data file are recovered or applied. And that's why it is called as an instance recovery, because the changes that happened are in the memory. They have not yet been written to the data file, or changes that have not been committed have been written to the data file. These two have to be modified. Committed changes to be applied, uncommitted changes to be rolled back. Now that is possible with the help of read log entries. That's what happens in an instance recovery. This happens automatically. There is no need for any configuration. It happens automatically when the instance starts up. So that's about instance recovery in an Oracle database.